This is the Foxeer Aura 7-inch frame. I've chosen this frame for a lightweight 7-inch build that I can use for long-range flights and as a filming platform. I'll be able to carry a GoPro for longer distances and in areas where my 5-inch long-range drones won't be able to go. In this video, I'm going to give you an in-depth look at this frame. I'm going to give you a few tips for building it up. And I'm going to compare it to what is probably the most popular 7-inch long-range frame on the market right now, the iFlight Chimera 7 Pro. Here's what the frame looks like when it comes to you. Foxeer puts their frames in this nice plastic box. It's kind of a cool touch because instead of throwing away some sort of cardboard box or something, you get a plastic toolbox you can reuse. You get some stickers, a nice long battery pad, some battery straps, and these have a nice silicone finish, some 3D printed landing skids for the arms and for the front skid there, GoPro mount. We've got two different solutions for mounting the GPS. One if you're using the DJI Air unit, and the other if you're using a Vista or for an analog build. The camera mount, the rear mount for your video antennas, a rear antenna mount for a Crossfire Immortal T. I'm sure an ELRS antenna would fit in there as well. A hardware bag with everything you need to build up the frame, like standoff, screws. Looks like they include an M5 bolt and nut for your GoPro mount, which is a nice touch. A set of these plastic covers to keep your motor wires out of your props and keep your build nice and clean. One bag with the carbon fiber arms, and another bag with a top and bottom plate. For my build, I'm going to use a pair of the Foxeer Lollipop 4 Plus antennas. These are supposed to be really nice antennas, and of course they're color coordinated, so I can't wait to get this frame together. It should look pretty cool. Since Foxeer does not include any instructions or diagrams in the box, you're going to have to work on the photo from the box itself and the diagrams they have on their website. The build of this frame is pretty easy. It's straightforward. It's a traditional design, nothing too out of the ordinary. The arms fit together pretty nicely. They're sandwiched between these two carbon fiber plates, and they're held in place with 3 press nuts. The first 2 are flush with the arm, and the third one is a longer screw for holding the stack. The third one is a slot that just slides in and out, so it's really these first 2 that are holding the arm securely in place. If you break an arm, you can pull it out without having to remove the stack. The only part of this frame that requires a little bit of care in the assembly are these press fit nuts. The way I did it is I held the nuts in place on this side while I tightened down the screw with my driver from the other side, and the tension will pull the press fit nut right into the carbon. You just want to work slowly and carefully and maintain even pressure on that press fit nut so that it pulls through the carbon straight. You really want to use a good quality driver for this part of the build. Personally, I wouldn't use an electric screwdriver. I like to use a good quality handheld driver so you can really measure the torque you're using to pull that press fit nut into the carbon. They include several 8mm screws to assemble the frame that go into these standoffs here, and 4 of them are longer. I believe they're 12mm. According to the diagram on the website, they use those for these front standoffs, I assume for a little bit of extra strength. I actually used 2 of them there, but I used the other 2 right here because I thought they would serve me better going through the GoPro mount to take into account that extra thickness of the TPU. Everything about this frame seems like it's very high quality, and they add a couple nice details like the battery straps that they give you are really nice. They have a silicone coating that makes them feel very premium. I like that they give you an M5 bolt for the GoPro mount. I also like that they use a reusable toolbox in their frame packaging. What I really like about this frame is how simple the design is. It's a traditional design, it's minimalist, it's very easy to build. It would be easy to repair if something breaks, and it's extremely lightweight for a 7-inch frame. Since I'm doing a lightweight build with this frame, it's interesting to see just how much weight you can save by using a Vista over an Air unit. For the sake of comparison, both of these are running the polar camera. The cameras are identical. The TPU mount weighs 12 grams. the Foxeer Lollipop 4 Plus antennas, the extension cables I would use, and the air unit itself all weighs in at 87.2 grams. Let's call that 87 grams. That's for a long-range setup for a 7-inch build. In contrast, the Vista and a similar Foxeer Lollipop 4 Plus antenna, notice this is the same camera, polar cameras on both, weighs in at 33 grams. So we're talking about 54 grams difference. That's a pretty significant weight difference. As far as options for mounting your electronics, in the center position, you only have 30 by 30 mounting holes. There is no 20 by 20 pattern. In the rear, you do have a 20 by 20 mounting pattern here, as well as a 30 by 30 option in the back, although if you're running an air unit, that will cover those up. I also noticed that they have cutouts here for, I assume those are for zip ties to mount a crossfire antenna in the front, the way they show on the box. Right here. Oops. Hard to hold that on camera. The way they show a crossfire antenna on the front, it looks like those are zip tied down and they give you the holes to do that there. I will be doing full review and build videos of these quads in the future, but for today I'm going to focus on the frames themselves. Assuming you're running a DJI Air Unit or Vista, the Foxeer Aura will take the standard DJI camera cable, which is 11 or 12 centimeters long. Although, if you're running an Air Unit, you're going to require some extension cables for those antennas. And these ones that I bought are not long enough. These are 6 centimeter cables, although the actual cable itself is just 4 centimeters. They are not long enough, so I'm going to have to buy some 10 centimeter long cables. In the case of the Chimera 7, you are going to require an extra long camera cable. I've heard that iFlight used to include a 20 centimeter camera cable in their Chimera 7 kits. They don't do that anymore. At least my Chimera 7 Pro kit did not come with the camera cable, and I thought it did because I read online that it did, and so I have to order one of those, and it's in the mail. I have test fit these 6 centimeter extension cables from iFlight, and these do fit. They don't fit in the Foxeer Aura. They do fit in the Chimera 7 Pro. The differences between these two frames can be summed up in terms of weight. The Foxeer Aura is going to be much lighter weight. Size, the Chimera 7 Pro is going to be much larger, and design philosophy. Whereas the Foxeer Aura is minimalistic, the Chimera 7 Pro is over-designed, full of bling, and full of innovations. Weighing just the frame without antennas, battery straps, or the TPU mount for the DJI Air Unit, the Foxeer Aura weighs in at about 222 grams. 221.7, we're going to call that 222. The Chimera 7 Pro, on the other hand, weighs in at 271 grams. I did remove the mount for the DJI Air Unit, to be fair. We're talking about 50 grams difference, so there's a pretty significant weight difference there. In terms of size, the Chimera 7 Pro has a wheelbase of 321 millimeters, whereas the Foxeer Aura has the wheelbase of 300 millimeters. It will take 7.5-inch props, whereas the Foxeer Aura takes 7-inch props. The arms are 6 millimeters thick as opposed to 5.5 millimeters. Even though the Chimera 7 frame is much larger, the Foxeer Aura has just as much or more space to mount a battery. So from TPU to TPU, I'm getting 6.5 inches of usable battery mounting space. The Chimera 7, which is much larger, actually from TPU mount to TPU mount is just under 6 inches. All right, now let's talk about the Chimera 7 Pro. This frame, in a lot of ways, is the exact opposite of this frame in design philosophy. Whereas the Foxeer Aura is minimalist, the Chimera 7 Pro is just like a marvel of over-engineering. And what I mean by that is it's just full of bling and innovations. It has these side panels which keep your build nice and clean and just look super cool, but of course that's extra weight. Another thing is the GPS mount in the back. Rather than being just a simple TPU mount, there's actually two standoffs there, and it's adjustable, so you can adjust the angle of your GPS mount. I mean, that's absolute genius there. I really appreciate that. The Chimera 7 Pro also has a bunch of finishing touches, like they include grips for your antennas to screw them off and screw them on more easily. The camera mount in the front is absolutely solid and bulletproof with this carbon fiber plate right here, and then two small TPU plates that hold the camera in place. They also include 6 battery pads. That's right, 6 battery pads. They include 1 for the top and 2 for the bottom in case you want to mount your battery underneath, and that's 1 set, which is 3, and they included 2 sets, so a total of 6 battery pads, at least in my box. They even include an LED light with a clear plastic TPU lens with the iFlight logo. So the Chimera 7 Pro is really just a work of art. You can tell there is a ton of engineering time that went into this quad. But on the other hand, it's not lightweight. It's going to be a lot heavier. The build's going to be a little bit more complex. You're never going to end up with as lightweight and as simple a build as you would with the Foxeer Aura. They're both excellent frames, but they're both very different. The Foxeer Aura is a lightweight, minimalist design, and the Chimera 7 Pro is huge in every way. It's full of innovations, it's full of bling, it's full of extras, and it's much bigger. That means that the Chimera 7 Pro is going to be good for me for a true long-range cruiser. I'm going to run larger props, larger batteries, lower kV motors, whereas the Foxeer Aura is going to be more of a high-speed cruiser. I'm going to keep it super lightweight, and I'm going to put higher kV motors on it, and it's going to just absolutely scream.